What's up guys? So we're back with another speculation video. Today we're going to go over some cards that just got announced. Since the beginning of March, Cyberpunk has stopped pushing the art of the cards and now we've started getting more of the actual cards with effects and things so we can start to speculate and deck build around the new releases that we're getting. Of the 3 releases, we've gotten 2 new legends and a new program available. 2 of which are yellow, 1 of which is green. So I wanted to talk about the cards that I think are the most interesting and game impacting and go from there. So for the Corpo fans, we first got announced our new legend, which is the new Goro Takemura legend. I don't love this effect as of right now. We have a little bit of a game change coming. With the original legends, we saw a flip effect. Now the flip is being changed over to what's called a call effect. So the new call effect is going to work like the initial flip effect we saw in the alpha kits from Victor. The call effect is going to happen the moment the legend is flipped. Now, having run a couple test matches of the game so far, I'm enjoying the Arasaka units I think a little bit more. But it seems like the Arasaka units want to have a very high street cred, if you will, because you want to maintain a lot of the draw effects that you get off the other legends for Arasaka. It's also looking like Arasaka is going to be a very heavily defensive play. I don't know if you guys saw the last Goro Takemura in my last video on the alpha kits. He also had a very similar effect to gaining a blocker, except that in that instance he was himself the blocker. Now we've only gotten 1 release for Arasaka and Corpo units as of right now, so I can't say for certain whether or not that's true. But I'm excited to see more of the releases, and I hope that Corpo has more of an aggressive play style that kind of fits how their mentality is in the game. So moving on to some of the Street Kid NCPD yellow stuff that we've gotten, this is what I'm really excited for because as I played in Cyberpunk, I'm a forever Street Kid. I really like to see the cards that are going to come out for the deck that I'm planning on playing. So it seems like every color in Cyberpunk's TCG is going to get some sort of draw effect, but it seems like blue and yellow have a very heavy draw effects in the game as of right now. The first new release we got for yellow is Afterparty at Lizzie's. It's a new program. It says adjust a rival gig by + or -2, then if you have a friendly gig with the same number, you draw a card. So that effect can be killer for gig tempo. So in my playtesting, it seemed to me like a lot of yellow wanted to tempo out your gigs. You wanted to increase your dice to gain the draw effects off of things like Jackie. This program is no different, except this allows you to adjust a rival gig. So say you're going against something like an Arasaka unit who benefits off of having a high street cred to gain their draws. You can knock them down a peg and kind of tempo off some of their effects to limit the things that they can and cannot do with their cards. Now, in every game I play, I'm a big fan of control decks, so programs like this, while they don't necessarily control board, they definitely control some area of game state and board state, because your gigs are kind of your lifeline in Cyberpunk. You need to change these numbers and manipulate these numbers to benefit yourself in some way, so if you're continuously getting your gig and your street cred numbers knocked down, you're going to lose out on some of the effects that you need to play the game. Also, with the release of Lizzie's, I'm curious to see if Cyberpunk's going to push for more programs that also adjust your own gig dice, not just attacking rival gig dice as well. Now, the final release we got for yellow is the new legend River Ward. Now, this legend, just like Goro, has 2 effects, the initial call effect, but then the secondary effect. When a unit attacks, you can choose a gear from your hand with a cost 2 or less and attach it to a friendly yellow unit. Now the stipulation for the attachment is the yellow unit can have no currently equipped gears, but that doesn't necessarily make this a bad effect. This effect is really good since it's very ambiguous about how it works. Some people know from playing games like Magic the Gathering, an effect that can work not just on your turn, but on your opponent's turns usually tend to be very, very powerful effects and tend to help control tempos a little bit. Now, I'm really excited for this effect because I don't know if you guys remember from the alpha kits, but we have 2 yellow equipments that already have some benefit to us to use this effect for, one of them being the yellow equipment that allows us to give a unit blocker. Now, being able to equip gear from hand without actually ever paying a cost, or I guess in this instance it would be only paying the cost of turning over the 1 legend river, is a very handy effect because say you're out of resources, you only have your 1 river up, but you're trying to keep your 6th gig dice alive, keep it from going into enemy hands before the end of their turn. You can essentially take a unit that's currently getting no value on board, it's just sitting on board, hand it blocker on the opponent attack, essentially preventing your gig dice from ever being taken in that instance. Now, this effect can be very handy not just for the defensive, but for the offensive as well, because say you have a unit sitting at 8 power, you can throw on the equipment of a Dying Knight and not just gain the benefit of stealing 2 gigs, you can also gain the benefit of dealing a rival unit's equipment piece. Now, I know a lot of people don't necessarily enjoy mirror matches in card games in general, but this would be a very handy effect for something like a mirror match. Say you're going into another Street Kid deck, and the Street Kid deck decides to attach blocker to something, you could attach Dying Knight to something and can kill the blocker upgrade that it was given. Now, I'm really curious along the lines of what Cyberpunk's going to be releasing along this month, since the Kickstarter does launch this March 17th. But it's nice to see that already with the card releases we're being given and the alpha kit cards that we already have, we can kind of already start doing a little bit of deck teching and deck changing with the cards that we were given and actually start to see a kind of a play style build out for around these decks. With the alpha decks that we were given, we've already kind of been given a mixture of the double color playstyle that you will see in Cyberpunk, since all cards have a RAM requirement for them to be able to run in a deck, and it has to be of a matching amount of color and number. So I'm curious to see with more releases if it's going to be beneficial not just to have all these yellow cards, but maybe even to potentially eventually have a full yellow mono yellow deck, or mono blue, mono green, whatever the color associates with the card. Up until release coming out, I'd like to see more not just legends coming out, but more cards that can be run in the decks. So with the alpha kits and with what we have, we can start actually changing around and maybe eventually figure out the meta for Cyberpunk that we're going to get before it comes out, or at least before initial release of the decks. Now, we've already gotten some word from Weirdco in the Discord servers about kind of what the Kickstarter is going to look like and some things we're going to see on release, but I'd be really excited to hear more about competitive support and prizing, since I myself do like my competitive play, and I know a lot of people love their tournament promos and card event promos as well, things that kind of enhance the experience of the game and make it not just a game you buy once and never play again. I feel like most TCGs, not all, but definitely most, have to have some kind of competitive play style, or at least competitive scene to keep some longevity of the game, because if you're not going to participate in events, if you're not going to have events, things like promos and continued support and starter decks and things, those things can't be brought to light without a larger player base, or at least a growing player base, or at least a large enough competitive scene to warrant products like these and releases like these to keep coming out for this game. Now, I'm excited for more of the releases to come out. I know Gamma Expo is happening this weekend. I am very excited to see if anything new comes out of that, but if not, we're getting new releases every day, we're getting new cards every day, new art every day. So as they baby bird us a little bit on the way to release, it's exciting to see what we can deck build from release. Myself will definitely be releasing some deck videos and definitely some deck testing videos coming up soon. I hope that Cyberpunk pushes to kind of release more stuff just so the players themselves can kind of start to figure out what their decks are going to look like, because I know the most annoying thing to do in a game when you have no idea what you're doing is try to figure out how to make your deck work. So I'd be excited to see some more forums and stuff going on in the Discord about the decks and about the deck lists people are going to be running. So if you guys like my content, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll definitely be posting more heavily about the Cyberpunk game as it comes up to release, and I'll be releasing more things on the Instagram and other socials as well, so give me a follow. So that's going to be all for today's report on Cyberpunk. If you guys want to play any test matches online, let me know. Hit me up in the comment section, but be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this account for more videos on Cyberpunk TCG.